Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I am the founder, president, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture. Hello, a big shout out to all of our friends in the UK. We really do appreciate you. And most of you were brought here by the dynamic people who are backstage, our fabulous team of expert panelists. They are known all over the world. They have international fame, and they are people who lead with their hearts. They are people who show up every day bringing education, inspiration, and hope. And I'm so grateful that they are my friends and they are here with us. Let's welcome Helena Chard. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. You always give us a lovely introduction, Dr. JACALYN. We will say the same back to you. You are fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. It's from the heart. And let's welcome Ian Pelham Turner. Hello.
Hello. I'm feeling very sort of full of joys of spring. It's summertime. It's not raining, so that's very strange in Britain as well this time of the year. So it's a great day, and it's great to be back on your show once more.
It's great to have you. Thank you. And also joining us, Simon MacDonald.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you. You know, one of the reasons, very good reason I come on the show every week, because it's the only time I ever get called an expert.
I doubt that. That is so far from the truth. It's lovely to have you here. By the way, our friend DIANN BOEHM is not able to join us today. She has the day off. So hi to you, DIANN, in Texas. We're thinking of you.
Absolutely. How's her book going? How's her book going?
I think she's doing very well. She puts out so much content that's always winning awards. It's amazing. So I don't remember which book she's on now, Charlie and the Tire Swing, but I think there's another one that's about to come out too.
Excellent. Well, we wish her well.
We absolutely do. Now, what about the three of you? I actually don't know this answer, but have you written and published a book? Silence.
I think they answered the question.
In television, there's a pregnant pause when everyone is stunned by the question and is trying to think up a suitable answer.
Well, because you have so much to share. You've had so many incredible life experiences. And people would love to have that in a book they could refer to on a regular basis. Even your photographs.
There's another one. I'm just going to write my name. You know, I did that at a show. I know. I did that at a show in Spain one year, and I was invited along as a keynote speaker on marketing, and I'd spent weeks preparing the spiel that I was going to give out. And it was one of these sort of multilingual things, where a bit like this Brussels court, where everybody has the earpiece in, and there's a sort of gallery of boxes up there with simultaneous translators going on and yelling in other people's earpieces in all sorts of different languages. Anyway, I'd written all these notes up, and I'd spent ages doing it. So I gets up on the podium to do it. But the day before, I'd been around the show itself. There was a big exhibition with it. It was a big transnational European convention. And I realized that when it came to marketing, all the people in these stands hadn't a clue on how to present themselves. So I hurriedly rewrote the whole paper down on sheets there and took it up on the podium. So I stood up and, I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have spent months writing this speech, but really, it's just, and I went with that with the paper and threw it over my shoulder. I looked down to my notes. I'd ripped up the wrong ones. 45 minutes seriously trying to wing it and get myself out of a very difficult situation.
Look, you're turning red as you're telling us about it.
I still am getting very embarrassed when I think about it. But something went right. They asked me back again. I think it was to apologize. Maybe the third time was to return the cutlery or something like that.
That's a great story. All right, so I'm going to take it that no one has written a book yet, but it's forthcoming. By the way, yesterday during Dr. Jacqueline's book club show, I have the book here somewhere. I actually was focused on a woman who has written 2 books at age 87.
Wow.
Her first book, this is it. She passed away and it was published by her family, which is 87. Okay, so there's no age. We can all get out there and write our books.
Why are you looking down at me, Jacqueline?
Because look at all the books you have there.
Why are you going like this?
There you go.
I'm probably the closest to getting to 87, hopefully.
Oh, no, I meant about writing books, not about age. No.
I confess to having written one, a book on children's poetry, but and I've illustrated it as well, but I haven't had it published yet. So if there's a publisher out there in viewer land who's looking for children's poetry written by a crazy Scotsman and illustrated by the same crazy Scotsman, then let me know, please.
I can think of about 4.
Gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to call you out on that, Simon.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
No, I'd love to read it. So and feature it on my show. That would be great.
Well,
all right. So what's going on with you guys in the UK? What's the latest and greatest?
I think that's Helena.
We have so much going on. Well, no, guys, it's up to all of us. But I just think, for me, I think the most recent thing. I mean, there's so many things, but I'm just going to talk about the Lionesses. And I'm not a football fan. I'm not someone who's really followed football. But the thing that I love sport. I love games. I love team sports, especially when you've got camaraderie and people can all join in. I think it's the most amazing thing for lots of reasons. So I have joined in with the whole nation, the whole of, I think, Great Britain, UK, in roaring for the Lionesses who've got through to the final of the Euro 2022. And the Lionesses are our England female football team. So I mean, I'm really quite excited and more excited than I ever thought. They are going to be playing this Sunday with either Germany or France in Wembley. So it'll be at home, which is good. That's Wembley in the United Kingdom. And they beat Sweden 4-0 yesterday. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that it will be the first time that the women have appeared in the final since 2009, and everybody's been rooting for the team because, one, they play really, really well. I think for years and years and years, female football and sometimes female sports has not been given maybe the focal light that it should have been given. So it's lovely, so lovely to just see them doing so well. And like David Beckham was sending out messages of support and well done, and, you know, thanking them basically for inspiring his young daughter, Harper. And I think that's another thing, obviously, to inspire the younger generation. It's lovely to see young girls excited that they can do well in football and like join like the big teams, which is lovely. And Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, he's also messaged the England team, congratulations, Lionesses, and the whole country is so proud of everything you're achieving. We believe in you and we'll be with you all the way. So that's obviously for Sunday. And obviously he is absolute football fanatic. He's a president of the Football Association. So lovely for the team to receive such a good accolade. So I mean, it's an incredibly positive sporting time at the moment. I mean, we've been speaking, I know, last week and probably the week before as well, about the Commonwealth Games, and they actually start tomorrow, which is so exciting. So the Commonwealth Games are actually known as the Friendly Games. They come around every 4 years, and the last time they were the Commonwealth Games were in Australia. This starting tomorrow are in obviously the UK in Birmingham, so that it's going to have different places, NEC Birmingham, maybe different places for different sports. And it's 54 Commonwealth nations coming together. And what's most special about this whole Commonwealth Games, is there's a huge focus on inclusivity. And that's what we're all about. So that's what's so exciting. So there's no separate parasports or events with athletes with disabilities. Everyone's sort of integrated into their own teams. And another positive thing, which almost follows on from the Lionesses, is that the Games will focus more on women's events. I don't know. I just think we're in a different world, aren't we? So there's so much to talk about all the time. But I'm quite excited with the way things are going, and I can't wait to see what happens with the Commonwealth Games. It's something I think that goes on for 12 days from tomorrow. And I know that there's the baton, I think, that's actually come to us here in the UK, Birmingham. That's going to be going around the country, which is really exciting. So maybe we can talk about that. I don't know whether Ian's got something to say about all the wonderful wealth of sporting activities in the UK.
Well, I was just thinking about the Commonwealth Games, and of course, if it hadn't have been for the Boston Tea Party, then the United States could have been part of the Commonwealth as well. You know, of nations, you know, and you know, it might have been an extra thing that you can dominate. I think United States, perhaps a little bit of Cuba and a bit of the West Indies seem to sort of dominate the entire world at the moment. We get the occasional look in. I think the last time we had a major sporting event, which I think was the Olympic Games, if memory serves correctly, then we did pretty well. I think we came second. Nobody was more surprised than journalists like myself. But I think with the Commonwealth Games, it's a major time. It's a time when we really need the Commonwealth as well, from a futuristic level as well, to actually do trade with at the same time. So it's being used, I think, by many organizations to talk to Commonwealth leaders when they're here as well, which is a good thing to sort of have. But I'm just wondering as well, with Helena talking about the three lions, you maybe wonder why they're called the lionesses, and basically the emblem that the England team has are three lions, reclining lions, one underneath the other. It's known as the three lions. And so that's why they're known as the lionesses. It's nothing to do with their ferocity, although sometimes looking at some of those tackles, you know, I think there was some pretty sort of astute footwork, let's put it that way, in with some of these games at the same time. But it is, you know, women's football now in Britain, I think it's probably even bigger in America, but women's football in Britain now is really starting to catch on. And I think the audience last time was 90,000 in the stadium, so that's the full capacity. And I think if I remember right, the TV audience was 14 million. Well, that's about 5 times the size of our most popular soap in Great Britain. So a lot of people are starting to support the Three Lions, the ladies, and great, you know, anything that promotes Britain, I'm very much in favour of.
Thank you. Wow, I can't believe how many people are actually watching. That's a big number.
It is. I mean, it surprised me, but I wonder whether our Scottish trio, you know, are watching, because normally I wouldn't say there's animosity between England and Scotland, only when it comes to soccer. You know, then I think then the kilts come down south, you know, in their millions, and they're marvellous. You know, every time that the sort of the Scottish team come to London. And they bring what's known as the Tartan Army with them as well. They are the best behaved, funniest, really welcoming fans you could ever have in your city. They really are. They're sort of fabulous from that. But it's a huge number, 14 million. You know, I couldn't believe it myself.
Yeah. No, the Scottish.
I think the really.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, with our kind of climate we get in the winter here, we have to have a good sense of humor. and with the neighbors we've got as well south of the border, we need an even bigger sense of humor.
I just think to myself, what would it be like to be tackled? Helena, how do you feel about that?
To be tackled, did you say? So I've got a slight
yes,
can't hear too well. Did you say what would it be like to be tackled?
Yes.
I have no idea. I love sport. I suppose not so much now, but in my past I was a great sportswoman and run for the borough and did lots of amazing things. But to be tackled, it wasn't really a sport that I played. I don't know. I have no idea. What do the boys think? Or
gentlemen,
JACALYN, what do you think? Have you been tackled?
I think that one of the times I was tackled, this is in reference to sports, right? It was playing lacrosse, and I was running down the field, cradling the ball, and meanwhile I had already dropped the ball, like I don't know how many feet back, and somebody just tackled me. And then another time I was skiing and somebody hit me as I was going down the hill, and that was it. I never skied again, and I never played lacrosse again. So I don't think I'm a big fan of being tackled, but maybe there's something to it. I'm not sure. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
Depends who you're playing against, if you like them or if you don't like them. You know, it just depends how hard the tackle is, I suppose, or what kind of tackle you use.
I don't know. There are different types. See, I'm always learning something.
I think it's you know, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, joking apart, there's a lot of much more studies going on right now within sports, and one of the big things that they're looking at is heading the ball in soccer. That has led to a lot of mental health conditions for some, even the top football players, as they come closer to my age in the 60s and the 70s, and how it's been diagnosed that perhaps heading a ball all their lives has actually caused them irreparable damage as well. So I suppose, you know, with the tackling, because, you know, I mean, you know, the tackling has been, I think, reasonably ladylike is probably what I would say. And that's not you know, taken away from anything at the same time. I mean, there can be some very ferocious tackles, especially against competitive teams, for male teams. And especially you find where a lot of the competitive tackling happens is when a city like Manchester or London has several premier football teams, and the competition between them really gets highlighted. But I don't think, going back to Scotland, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite as vicious, and there's not another word for it, than which Simon will know about as well, which is called the Old Firms match, which is between Glasgow Celtic and Glasgow Rangers. And I actually, when I first started working in Scotland, I came out of the tunnel and I was walking towards, you know, where the pitch was. and this balloon came over the fence, and it was a light blue balloon. In other words, that was a Glasgow Rangers Protestant balloon, and I hit the balloon, and it went into the Celtic area, and I started a riot. I've never seen so much. I mean, literally, and this inspector came running up to me and said, "What on earth did you do that for?" Well, I had no idea what he was talking about at the time. Obviously, subsequent to that, I realised what the situation was. But it always amused me at times as well.
Yes, Glasgow Rangers and Celtic matches can be quite interesting. My father actually used to be a director of Rangers, so I've got to be careful what I say. But we do have one sport up here which I would say makes football look extremely tame, and that's the sport of shinty. And shinty, it's a bit like hockey, but without the rules, basically. And it's more like a blood sport than anything else. It is really, really savage. You do not want to be tackled by a shinty player, believe me. They hit hard, these guys.
Have you played, Simon?
No, I'm intact. Completely intact.
Oh, that was fascinating.
But I mean,
yes, I think with the shinty players, the difference between the shinty player and the football player, of course, is sort of known nowadays for suffering from a bit of brain damage after heading the ball too much. The shinty player's got to have the brain damage before he actually takes up the sport.
And Helena, I think you're trying to get back in.
Yeah, I don't know whether you can hear me. I'm not too sure because I'm not hearing you too well. But just to say, we were talking about tackling, but tackling is a skill. Tackling is a negotiation skill where obviously we've been talking about football and we're talking about the great lionesses, but it's all about getting the ball off of someone, but it's the skill that goes with that. So we're not necessarily talking about headers and brain damage and things like that. It's to do with being really good at what you do. So I just thought that I'd make that clear because I wasn't too sure whether that was coming over. It's all part and parcel. Tackling in football is all part and parcel of a professional game. And wow, they did incredibly well. And I think for lots of top footballers as well, to say that how well the team played is a real accolade. And I say it again because I think female footballing teams have always not been viewed as professional in a way or as good, and they just were supersonic.
Thanks, Helena, for sharing that. I think that's a good point because these are professionals. I mean, they're trained, right? They're not like me going out and just having a game with somebody and not knowing what I'm doing. So that's a good point.
Absolutely. And I think
absolutely. So
carry on, Helen.
We missed that pregnant pause.
Sorry,
this is the joys of live television. Next. Don't you just love it?
There's a slight delay, I think, Helena. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I mean, again, we've got other really fabulous news. I mean, thinking of positive things. Sam Ryder, he won Eurovision recently. A lovely guy. We've spoken about Sam Ryder, and as we know, a similar thing. The Eurovision Song Contest it unites people through the power of music. Again, that's something we spoke about last week with the piano, Dr. JACALYN, and so the power of music and creativity. And the great news is, which is really exciting, is that we are going to be hosting the Eurovision in 2023. And we're in the sort of bidding process soon to be coming on to see which city will actually host it. Now, as we know, it was going to be Ukraine because Ukraine won the Eurovision last year. But I think possibly we will work with the Ukraine as well. And I do feel that they will be very much parts of our show, but understandably they're not going to be able to host something like that. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a really fabulous show. So I wonder where the host city will be. My feeling is it won't be London, because it's going to have to be a huge, great big turnout. But it's exciting. I think really fun. I love these good sort of snippets of news that we keep hearing. What does everyone think?
Glasgow's in for the bidding, so that would be quite interesting. You know, if it's Glasgow, then you can get the Rangers fans sitting on one side and the Celtic fans sitting on the other, and Ian somewhere in the middle with the blue and the green balloon.
I love my lesson for that. But I think some of the logistics that Helena's talking about is quite pronounced, because that they apparently need an area where up to I don't know how they've managed to sort of do this, but they are saying that they need an indoor location that takes up to 30,000 people. I can't imagine they got 30,000 people well, I don't know where it was held last year, the one which Ukraine won. But they've also got to find hotel rooms for, I think it's about 40,000 people as well. You know, that sort of put all this thing together at the same time. So the logistics of actually setting this type of thing up is amazing at the start. And it, you know, as Helen and I know, and as you know, Jack, as well, and I'm sure Simon knows, is that it takes so long to put a project together, you know, like a television project together. So they must have got a reasonable idea where they're going to hold it right now, because it virtually takes a year from when the last one finishes to get ready for the next one.
Yeah, it is. It is quite an impressive setup for the whole thing. I mean, even the COP26 that we had in Glasgow this year, you know, the whole process of that was just unbelievable. It was colossal, and for accommodation, I mean, people were staying on the other side of the country as well. You know, they were scattered far and wide. But you know, the spin-off benefits of hosting something like that can be quite enormous. And you know, again with COP26, it boosted tourism in Scotland quite considerably, because a lot of people, it was maybe their first time here. A lot of people have been here many times before, and it was just gave them the opportunity. Then we're here, let's go have a bit of a holiday. And so they'll take an extra week or a couple of weeks and go out and explore the place. So you know, Scotland did very well out of that in the end, but staging it all is really quite something. I was over in Ireland one of the years when Ireland won it, and I was down in Kilkenny at another European conference down there I was speaking at, but flying back over to Glasgow on the day that all the Eurovision Song Contest people were also flying back. Dublin Airport is not a massive airport, but to be jumped on by some tens of thousands of people carrying, you know, some great big double basses and violin cases and drums and God knows what all. It was quite impressive to see this, and the security guards standing in corners and just shaking their heads like this and saying, "I want to go home." So it's quite an effort to put a show like that on.
But I think, sorry, carry on.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, I can't imagine putting together an event of that size, but I was in that business of meetings and events. I sold meetings and events for 18 years, pretty much. And just putting together an event for a pharmaceutical company, for example, and then having to have plan B and plan C, you know, if there's something with the weather or if an emergency happens. And of course, there's always things that come up that you just never expect would come up. And how do you handle it? So my hat is off to anyone who's planning big events like that.
I know. Do you know, you talk about pharmaceutical events. My ex-wife used to put on used to be part of a company that put on pharmaceutical events in Britain and in Europe. But her boss was so mean. So we went to America one time to promote a big event in Scotland, actually. that was happening. And he'd given her £50. And that was the marketing budget, for when we got to America. And you will know that some of these exhibitions, it's big, it's glossy, it's very big American gloss. And all we had was about a 6-foot square space and a pop-up table. And that's what we were given. Not even any chairs. We had to rescue some chairs from the restaurant just so we could sit down. When we were at the airport, I was saying, well, what are we going to spend the £50 on? And I thought, the best thing to actually get people to come across to this event was to sell them golf. We weren't creating golf, but it was a doctor's conference. And so we managed to get some golf brochures, and we got some tartan shortbread and a few other couple of posters, Scotland posters. And that was our entire budget spent as well at the same time. And we came across, and I swear to God, doctors were going up and down all these massive flashing light exhibitions, and they were stopping off at our stand and are all signing up because they had to have an excuse to play golf in Scotland. And so if they went to this medical exhibition, everything was paid for by their medical council, and they could have this wonderful week playing golf in Scotland as well. So to everybody who is slightly bereft of budget on a marketing budget, try golf in Scotland.
Golf in Scotland is a huge draw, especially for the incentive trips when you're recognizing the salespeople, for example. They love the golf trips. So
they just, it sort of it makes me sort of my imagination run wild about pharmaceutical exhibitions. Now, I mean, I'm used to the food exhibitions, and when you go there, everybody's dishing out food to you, and you go around, and at the end of the show, everybody's giving away all their samples to you as well. You come home with a suitcase full of these things, but you go to a pharmaceutical one. What do? Here's a packet of aspirin. Don't take them all at once. It obviously comes on with a totally different idea to my mind.
Well, I'll share something about an event that we did. I'm not going to say the name of the client. If they were there, they know they were there. But the trip was in Panama, and there were 2 waves of people coming in. I think it was about 800 for each of the waves. And there was one road to the resort, and the taxi cab driver was taking someone, and our groups were in the buses behind. Well, the taxi cab driver was shot by the passenger. So he was dead, and literally the road was blocked, so nobody could move for hours upon hours. And they got to the property around 2 a.m, and I was with my staff, and I stood up on a table because we were checking them all in. It was 2 a.m. I'm like, okay, listen up, everyone. We're going through this one time. Your rooms are here. The elevator. I went through the whole thing. It was hilarious. Fast forward, the next day, one of the executives slipped because there was a lot of humidity. So they had to airlift him and take him to a hospital. And then one of the other executives found a snake in his room. I mean, it just went on and on. It was people were like, I'm never going back there again. Of course, we did trips there after that. But it's one of those things where you have to have a plan B, because how are you going to get the people from the bus to the resort? How are you going to deal with the local police, et cetera, et cetera? So again, I give a lot of kudos to people who are planning events.
Logistics, yeah.
We do have a comment, by the way, from one of our faithful followers, Irene. Nice to have you back with us. She types, oh, this is a good talk. I am having a teenage center in the making at St. Jude Nango Primary School. It's mainly empowering teenagers to stay in school so as not drop out of school or get early marriages or teenage pregnancies.
Wow.
Wow, would anyone like to?
A teenager to stay
congratulations.
To lock the door.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because Helen and I, as you know, we've got this kindness trust, and we're working on that at the moment. And I hope we will be launching our school campaign in September, where young pupils, young pupils, anybody's young to me, these days. But pupils who show and do an act of kindness will then get a kindness card, and then they will get discounts in local shops attached to that particular school. But I think it is so important now. It's strange because, when I was school age many moons ago now, you could actually leave school when you were 14. I didn't. I think I left school when I was 16, late 15, early 16. I just managed to get this apprenticeship as a photojournalist. So I left school sort of earlier than I think even my parents wanted me to do, really. But it is so important, I think, now to incentivize young people. And it's one of the things that I'm looking at that I hope I will talk to you about privately, JACALYN, as well, where if a project comes off as we're hoping to, then perhaps we can actually create something where we can get more young people onto USA Global TV and give them some exposure at the same time. So I think it's very important right now, at a time when I think we're going to go through troubled times, even globally now, there may be a global recession, to actually incentivize and inspire young people.
Brilliant. This is a brilliant idea, and I'd love to be part of it.
Well, I think it's a natural progression, because I think the reality in Britain is a lot of the black youth that we work with, where's the spiritual home that they want to talk to? It's New York, and anything that then is sort of streamed across America as well. It's the perfect foil. And I don't know if you remember, I think it was last year, was it Helena, or the year before? I've lost track of the years now. Where we brought in Michael Jackson's Mo Pleasure, Michael Jackson's music director, and we surprised the young man. Do you remember that program we did? And we surprised that young man who we did a feature on. Do you remember?
Here.
That's what. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope so. It was your show.
Yes, it was here. So, yes, I remember.
Yeah, and so we surprised.
Show.
I think that was 2 years ago.
It is some time ago. Helena, you've got much better memory than I have. But I'm trying to think when it was. It was some time ago now. But
Mo Pleasure was here twice, and I believe his wife was about to deliver their baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think and I'm sure Simon agrees as well, and Helena, that we must inspire our youth. We really must. Because I wouldn't want to be a teenager today.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I really wouldn't.
There are old men of tomorrow.
Yeah, in some ways, sometimes I feel my age, and other times I've got this habit now where if I go onto a crowded tube at night, I find where the senior citizens' chair is, and I hoik them out and sit there myself. And I do it with such loud aplomb that everybody in the carriage is looking round and seeing who the person who dares sit in my senior citizen's chair, the one that's specially designed for people like myself, dare to be sort of trying to hide away, and fall asleep or something. I've woken up sleepers. I've woken up all sorts of people. Get out of my seat.
Well, on our show, Loving Longevity, we just had someone on, and he used the term seasoned citizen. Isn't that nice? Seasoned citizen. And people are living into their hundreds, so the word old doesn't really apply anymore. So I like that, seasoned citizen as opposed to senior.
But it sounds like you're going to be rotating around on a spit or something, doesn't it?
What's for dinner? Seasoned citizen.
Seasoned citizen. Oh, yummy.
What part of the world is it from, though?
Yeah, a bit tough, but there's bound to be a good recipe out there.
Who's cooking? Simon is, though. Oh, Helena, we're digressing. Help us.
Okay, I'm struggling actually to hear, to be quite honest, but I can see everyone's laughing and fun, so I'm enjoying listening into snippets. I just wanted to say as well that we obviously have the Scottish connection, which is fabulous, and I think Ian, you'd sort of said about there being some kind of like when it comes to Great Britain and Scotland, but Her Majesty the Queen. We love her, as you know, and I have to say she's looking absolutely beautiful. I just love her when she's wearing these relaxed, beautiful dresses. She's looking, I think, amazing, and is with us on quite a few things. She's not going to be at the Commonwealth Games. That's already been addressed, but that's fine because lots of the other royals are going to be there. And I actually think that the Duchess of Cambridge is going to be part of some of the rowing, the sailing things, which is lovely. But at the moment, Her Majesty's in Balmoral, and as we know, that's her happy place. So Scotland is her happy place, as is, you know, and something that I think was really quite sweet is recently she was talking about how thrilled she was to receive a lovely message from Pope Francis. Now, I think she was actually at the Vatican with Pope Francis in something like 2014. And he sort of left this message. He was flying over the United Kingdom en route to Canada. He sent this lovely message. Basically, it was good wishes, you know, strength and joy and peace. That's what he was giving. But it was just, how lovely, you know, it's just, I just love it. Simple. I love that special sort of message, which we should all sort of like, it's that big sort of hug that I want to give always. But talking about her happy place in Scotland, and this is something I think Simon probably knows a little bit more about than me. I have heard something that is saying that tourists have been banned from 23 popular Scottish islands. Now, this is not a negative thing. This is actually a positive thing because apparently islands are actually struggling to cope with an extreme breakout of avian flu, which obviously is not great, but apparently tourists can actually spread this through their footwear. So by sort of doing this ban for a little while, it's going to obviously allow the birds to live and thrive. I don't know. Have you heard about that, Simon?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a serious problem just now. We have over 3,500 islands, by the way. So to the tourist world out there, don't worry, there are plenty still open to you. But the ones that are closed off really are pretty much the uninhabited ones, like the Bass Rock, Ailsa Craig, and the island of May and Firth of Forth. You know, you can visit it, but not now. But it's absolutely tragic. I mean, on the Bass Rock alone, they're reckoning 60 to 70% of the gannets have succumbed to avian flu. So the sea is getting rather full of them, and they're getting washed up on the beaches. So, you know, a word to anybody who's out there and they see a dead seabird on the beach: don't touch it. Give it a wide berth and inform Nature Scott or the local police station or the local vet as well, and get them to deal with it, because the risk of this horrible disease being spread amongst all the rest of the birds it's quite scary. And you know, if it gets out to the likes of St Kilda, which is really about the biggest colony of gannets in the world, then it's going to be catastrophic. But there's so many seabirds in particular which have have died with this awful avian flu. So all precautions are being taken. That's my serious note for the day.
Just to bring a less serious note, or an interesting note anyway. Helen was just talking about Pope Francis. And I saw the astonished look on his face when he was presented with a headdress by the Native American Indians recently. Has he been in America? I presume he's been in America, and was given this what looked like a Hollywood-style Native Indian, Red Indian headdress, and they plonked it on his head, and there was this look of astonishment as all of a sudden he became a Native Indian chief of some sort as well. So I don't know how the Americans took that. I don't know how Pope Francis took it either.
I think you'd get a sudden silence if he appeared on the balcony at the Vatican wearing his Native Indian headdress. People,
I mean,
it's a round of applause, but that pregnant pause that we've had today, I think, would last for hours there.
Do you know, I always thought those types of headwear were just that you saw in the movies and weren't actual historical headwear, but if they're wearing it like that, then it must be. So he's obviously now become a Native American chief as well.
What was the expression on his face?
It was the look of astonishment, and I noticed it was very quickly removed by one of the cardinals.
It was just jealousy. Just pure jealousy. He wanted the shot.
I think it was on there for all for about 15 seconds before it was removed from the papal head. But it was one of those, there's been some magic moments, I think, in television over the past couple of years. I still love Oprah. I still love the moment when she said, "What?" With Meghan. I think that for me goes down in historical television. I would love to have a moment like that. But the other one is seeing the look on his face when suddenly they plonk this on his head, and he's for a second he didn't quite know what to do.
I'm gonna have to look for that clip.
Yeah.
If you have it, share it with us, would you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's just one of those ones. So it just goes to show. Do you know what I think? The thing that we bring on this show, I hope, and the thing that we need to spread is happiness.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's the entertainment part of our platform. It's education, hope, inspiration, entertainment.
That's it. We'll get Helena to play that piano as well. One of these days we're going to get a tune and a song. We can all join in.
Do you know, I'm going to surprise you guys. I'm going to play something amazing. I know it. I can feel it in my heart. I'm coming along leaps and bounds. You watch me. I'm going to entertain everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? I hope you can, because I can't hear you so well. Oh, brilliant. I'm so pleased. Yes, I will entertain you all on the grand piano very soon.
That's it. And we'll get Dr. JACALYN to join in as well and accompany you with the keyboard.
Yay. I've got my song.
A couple of books together like the drum.
I was just going to say, I have my song right here. The beautiful Madeline Chan and I were rehearsing yesterday for a couple of hours. What was I thinking back then? And I'm excited. I just have to get my voice a little stronger and feel a little more comfortable and confident singing it. So stay tuned. It's coming though.
Excellent.
The secret is when you sing, smile. Because if you don't smile when you sing, your voice can go flat. There's a tip.
Let's give it a try.
Yeah. So if you feel your voice is going flat, smile. Put a forced smile on.
Simon, let's hear you sing something without smiling and then smiling.
Do you want the ratings to plummet?
Come on, let's have it. Let's try. All right, we'll move over to Ian.
Oh, please. What type of rendition can I sing to you? I suppose it could be smile while your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. How about that?
That's very good. Very nice. Thank you. Oh, Irene writes, woohoo, music in the house. Yes. Helena, this is your opportunity. Would you like to sing something?
you know what? I will sing something at some point. I promise you. But I just want to bring a point up, and I hope you can hear me. Here in the UK, we have just got a new campaign that's come out. And this campaign is about talking about mental health. I know this is something we talk about regularly. But this has got a different slant. And this is something that one of our big networks here in the UK has brought on. And I think each season they bring on different slants to create conversation between children, adults, between everyone, so everyone can talk. And this is about older people being able to speak with younger people. And this is a fantastic thing that's been brought in. It's just been introduced, and probably next week we can play a sort of video to give more of an insight into it. But it's, you know, it's all about changing the mood. You know, it's to do with children that are disconnected and how adults can sort of talk with their children. And I know that the fabulous Janetta Barry will have a lot to say about this as well, because she's got a lot of experience. But I thought I'd bring this up, and this is via ITV, sort of in Britain. So I wanted to share that with you. And actually, just quickly, I want to share something else which always sort of moves on in a funny kind of way to a similar kind of situation. This is about unusual jobs. And I've been looking into various things. At the moment, there's this young man, a very attractive young man, actually. He's called Treasure, and he is a professional hugger. Now, I don't know what people think about this, because I know it's slightly, maybe not the norm, as I said, unusual jobs. And he charges a certain amount per hour. But it's something actually that he's doing very well at. And I won't say very much more, but this is just something that's we've all been talking about here in the UK. So what do you think about it, guys? Professional hugger.
I have a comment. I actually have interviewed someone in the States who is a professional hugger, and he's driven through all 50 states, and this is what his job is. And people seem to really be excited about it. You know, some people don't want to be touched, right, because of the pandemic, and other people are so isolated and tired of being alone that they'll welcome a hug. So I think it's a great idea. Simon's speechless.
Anybody want to hug me?
Gentlemen, what do you think about it?
I think it's wonderful. Sorry, carry on, Helena. Sorry. Yeah, carry on, Helena.
No, carry on.
Okay.
Okay. So my.
Back and forth. Who's going? Okay.
Wimbledon.
I'll go. To begin with, I thought, oh gosh, because I love new things, and I love it when people want to try new things. And I just thought, gosh, you know, hugging is phenomenal. Hugging is fantastic. You know, it's a feel good, isn't it? Get your dopamine rush in. It changes people's lives. I think just a small little act of hugging, I just personally think is great. So I think actually it's very good, because I think there's that like touch thing, and you've got COVID and things, but more also you've got like, it's not a sexual thing. It's very much about, you know, a hug. It's something that gives so much. And I think I said it in the fact that it's feel good. I think it can really change your day, and it's an hourly rate that he charges, Treasure, and it's he's a trained hugger, and I know it sounds bizarre. So it's a expertise in hugging, but I think also it's chatting. So he chats. After you were laughing, aren't you? He chats to people as well. So he doesn't just hug someone for 1 hour.
I was going to say, that's a long time to be hugged. I'm going to get away after 5 minutes. Stop.
But I think you have the chance to say, okay, and you draw back and you can talk. And so in a way, it's about getting people talking. And some people maybe won't talk to somebody from 1 week to the next. So to pay, I mean, he actually charges £75 per hour. Now, if you've not had a contact with anybody and it's a really special hug, I think it's...
I'm retiring from broadcasting.
I think it's amazing. Come on.
I was just looking at Simon's face there when you mentioned the fee, and I could see him clocking up the. You know,
Yeah.
When can I start?
Yeah.
What's involved? Just two arms?
No, it's not enough.
If we team together, can we charge like a package rate or something, like 2 hugs for one?
Bulk discounts, yeah.
But I think, you know, I'm a great believer in hugging. I really am, because I think what it is an emotional release as well. You know, I love to be hugged, and I love to, you know, hug back as well. But apparently there is this golden rule that most huggers shouldn't hug for, I don't know where I learnt this bit of useless information from, but most huggers shouldn't hug for more than 15 seconds. If you hug for more than 15 seconds, apparently it can become uncomfortable for the person that you're hugging.
And you get the union onto you as well.
No, wait, I have a question about this hugging. So does one, I'm not speaking about this particular person who's getting 75 pounds an hour. Does a person need to ask permission to hug someone if you see someone? Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You don't just rush into it. It's you know, I don't walk down the street with my arms out ready for any, you know, if I want to get a bit of a hug. Actually, mind you, 75 pounds an hour, you know, it's actually.
Well,
yeah,
I'll just share something about hugging. I think I mentioned this before. I was in a business meeting and we were closing a $5 million deal, and the client, the first client, was a good friend of mine, and her boss was there, and he was actually going to be signing the contract, and we worked for this for months. So when I saw her before the contract was signed, I walked into the conference room and I just threw my arms around her and I gave her a big hug, and she stood there rigid. She did not even move. And I backed away, and she's like, "Don't ever touch me again." And I was so embarrassed. And she said to me later, "What were you thinking hugging me in front of my boss? It looks like we had something going, you know, like collusion for the deal." And I thought, wow, I should have asked for permission. So that's why I brought that up. Live and learn.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely. But
Yeah. Well, obviously not a member of the HUG, the Huggers Union group.
I was written up for that. Which, by the way, we're way over our time. My next show's starting in a minute and a half. So, we didn't even get to all the news, did we, Helena?
Not everything, but it's good. It's fine. It's all fabulous. We've had a lovely show, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to bleed over into fashion, travel, and fitness? Next show. No one's following.
I can't. Maybe next time. But
all right,
no, all is good. And I'm
piano duet.
Yes, definitely. I would love that. Well, I'll spotlight each of you, and if you can give your whatever the final messages you want to share with our audience for today. It's not final, it's just for today. So let's start with Helena.
You know, we've got the Commonwealth Games, and it's amazing what's going on. It's amazing that so many people are coming together, and I think this is something to just remember. You know, I think this whole you know, just loving each other, and it's this whole inclusivity thing. I think it's very much something that's all about us now, and I think that's something I just wanted to highlight from our fabulous show. So thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go over to Simon.
Well, again, thank you everybody who's out there and has joined in the show today. We've had an absolute blast. It's great fun as usual. And I've loved every second of it because I just like being called an expert at the beginning of the show. But no, it's been tremendous fun today. And, you know, if I could reach out there, I will hug you all.
One big hug from Simon. Thank you. And over to you, Ian.
Well, I think I've dug the hug bug today. I love anything to do with hugging, and I think it's very important. It's very important that I make this very short because otherwise you'll run into your next show. I think Britain is looking forward to more Americans coming across to us now. We've got some good opportunities right across Britain. What another wonderful show, and well done, JACALYN, for creating such a wonderful platform.
Thank you. You're too kind. Thank you. And thank you to the three of you for your support and your mentorship. I really appreciate it. I love you all. All right, we are going to sign off for right now, and fashion, travel, and fitness is coming up. And although DIANN FLOYD BOEHM couldn't join us today, her daughter, Rachel BOEHM, is joining me for fashion, travel, and fitness. So do watch us there. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.